For the past 6 years, I've worked as a night security guard at Wilson Research Labs, and what I witnessed last night has me questioning everything I thought I knew. I'm writing this from my car in a Walmart parking lot because, frankly, I don't feel safe anywhere else right now. This isn't an ordinary research facility. It's a sprawling underground complex located in the middle of nowhere, Nevada. Most nights are uneventful, just me and a few other guards, keeping watch over empty hallways and dimly lit labs after the scientists leave by 6 p.m. The hum of the machines, the occasional flicker of a security camera, that's usually the extent of it. Last night started off no different. I clocked in at 11 p.m., grabbed the usual bad coffee from the break room, and settled into my routine. Around 2 a.m., I noticed something strange on camera 12, which monitors the biochem storage area. The motion sensor light kept flickering on and off, but I couldn't see anything moving in the feed. Just an empty room, yet the light wouldn't stop. It felt off, but not enough to sound an alarm. I radioed Jerry, my colleague who covers the East Wing, to see if he was experiencing any similar issues on his end. There was no response. I tried again. Still nothing. That's when I glanced at the temperature readings for the biochem storage, normally kept at a steady 4 degrees Celsius, but now it was showing minus 15 degrees Celsius, a serious deviation. At this point, protocol required me to check it out in person. With a flashlight in one hand and my keycard in the other, I left the security room, feeling an inexplicable sense of dread creeping over me. The hallway to the storage area seemed longer than usual, and the sterile white walls felt like they were closing in on me. When I arrived, the cold hit me like a wall. It wasn't just cold, it was bone-chilling. My breath formed thick clouds in the air, and the metal door handle was so icy it nearly stuck to my skin when I touched it. Swiping my keycard, I noticed the lock made a strange sound, almost like chittering, not the usual beep I was expecting. What I found inside will stay with me for the rest of my life. The entire room was coated in a thin layer of frost, but the real horror wasn't the cold. Every storage unit was open, and their contents, the valuable, dangerous samples, were missing. But what truly disturbed me were the swirling patterns on the ceiling. They glowed faintly like bioluminescent ink, and they seemed to shift whenever I looked away, like they were trying to avoid being observed directly. That's when I heard Jerry's voice behind me saying, "Beautiful, isn't it?" I spun around, startled, but immediately knew something was wrong. Jerry stood there, but his movements were too smooth, too precise, almost like he was a puppet on strings. His eyes reflected the beam of my flashlight like a cat's, and when he spoke again, it was worse. His voice overlapped with another, a deeper, almost alien tone. "They've been waiting so long to make contact," he said, "and now, thanks to the samples, they finally can." I didn't think. I just ran. I bolted out of that room, down the hallway, through the labs until I reached my car. I've never run so fast in my life, and I didn't stop until I was speeding down the highway. That was 12 hours ago, and I haven't gone back. I parked here in the Walmart lot, trying to think, trying to make sense of it all. I tried calling the police, but every time I dialed 911, all I got was this high-pitched tone that made my teeth ache. My phone's GPS is malfunctioning too. 1 minute it shows me in this parking lot, and the next it's pinging me across the state, even though I haven't moved. The worst part is, a few hours ago, I noticed 3 more cars pull into the parking lot, and each one was being driven by Jerry. They're just sitting there, engines idling, with him behind the wheel in every single one. I don't know how that's possible, but here we are. I feel like they're waiting for something, but I don't know what. I've tried everything to reach out for help. My phone shows hundreds of missed calls from my wife. But here's the thing. I'm not married. I'm terrified of what's happening. I finally managed to escape the Walmart parking lot, but nothing is the same anymore. My last post was 6 hours ago, and since then things have spiraled even further. After seeing multiple Jerrys in the lot, I waited until they entered the store. Then I made a run for it. I drove straight to the nearest police station in Henderson. Big mistake. The station was completely empty when I arrived. Not a single officer, no staff, nothing. Just rows of vacant desks and computers displaying bizarre sequences of numbers. And then, as I was about to leave, I noticed something chilling. Every single photo on the most wanted board showed Jerry's face. Different hairstyles, different ages, different crimes. But they were all him, every single one. I ran back to my car, but before I could even start the engine, my phone rang. The caller ID showed my mother's name, but my mother died 3 years ago. I answered it out of reflex. "Hello, Michael," Jerry's voice said. "Your mother's form was inefficient. We had to optimize it." I threw the phone into the back seat, my heart pounding in my chest. Then I saw it. A small vial, frost-covered, had fallen out of my pocket and into the passenger seat. I must have picked it up back at the lab without realizing it. The label was torn, but I could make out the letters DNX. Inside was a substance that looked like mercury, but it wasn't right. It moved in ways that defied physics, like it was alive and reaching toward me. I knew I couldn't stay in my car forever, so I made my way to a public library, hoping to use their computers to do some research. What I found was worse than I could have imagined. Wilson Labs had recently secured a government contract for something called Project Mirror, and the project director was none other than Dr. Gerald Wilson, Jerry's father. Digging deeper, I discovered that the biochem storage area housed samples linked to a meteor that had crashed in Nevada in 1947. Wilson Labs was built right on top of the crash site. The DNX substance in the vial wasn't just some chemical, it was DNA, alien DNA, capable of rewriting itself and optimizing anything it came into contact with. But it wasn't just copying, it was evolving, turning everything it touched into something colder, more efficient, more like Jerry. That's when I realized Jerry wasn't just a person. He was a prototype for something much larger, something spreading. Everyone who came into contact with this substance was being rewritten, their DNA transformed into nodes of a vast biological network. And that network was growing. I thought I could escape, but as I sat there in the library, the temperature dropped again, and the patterns began to form on the windows. I heard footsteps behind me and knew who it was before I even turned around. Jerry had found me, and he wasn't alone. There were others, people who moved too smoothly, their eyes reflecting the dim light in unnatural ways. The words they spoke were in unison, cold and emotionless. The cold between stars welcomes you, Michael. I ran again, but I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. I've been trying to fight the cold, but it's spreading, both outside and inside me. My body temperature keeps dropping, and I'm starting to see the same patterns in the air, in my reflection. My hands are moving differently, more efficiently, just like Jerry's. I think it's only a matter of time before I become one of them. If you're reading this, stay away from Wilson Labs. And if anyone you know starts moving too smoothly or talking about efficiency, run. Don't look back. They're spreading, and they won't stop until we're all optimized.